Hello, everyone. I am back as promised with scenario number 2 on the topic of boundaries. So, as you come in to view this video, go ahead and click like and click share so that you can share it with everyone that you know. And if there's anyone that you know that struggles with setting boundaries or could benefit from hearing about how to set boundaries, go ahead and share this video with them as well. So, welcome. So, scenario number 2, again, I posted on Facebook the entire scenario. I'm not going to read it word for word or go through it, bit by bit. I'm going to give you, a bit of a synopsis of what it is and who the characters are. So in this particular scenario, it is boundaries within friendships, how to set boundaries in a friendship and what it looks like when boundaries are not respected. So this is Keisha and Nia, and they've been friends since middle school. So, having those friends that you grew up with, middle school, probably went through high school with, and possibly on to college with. In middle school, you all, did everything that we do in middle school, whether it was skipping school, whether it was, lying for each other when you were doing something that you weren't supposed to be doing, having sleepovers at each other's house, hanging out on the weekends, things like that. So that's what Keisha and Nia, that was their friendship. But now that they're adults, Keisha is really, in the mindset of evolving and growing within their friendship and maturing their friendship. They're no longer teenagers, right? And so the things that they used to do and the way that they used to interact, things have changed, as they should, right? You're getting older, things are changing. You have now careers to uphold, you have family things going on, you have your own romantic relationships. There's so many differences now that you're older. So as things do evolve, things change, and boundaries do change, and there's new rules per se in the relationship. So over time, Keisha, would give Nia advice because Nia would call and complain about the things that are going on in her life, the same type of drama, whether it was with her boyfriend or things going on with her family or on the job. Nia would always call complaining about it to Keisha. And so Keisha is beginning to feel like the relationship is one-sided because not only is it, when Nia calls, she's complaining about these things, but also she's never checking in on Keisha or asking Keisha, how's your day going? How are you feeling? What's going on in your life? Share with me what you have going on. She never does that. It's always about her. And so it's a one-sided friendship now. Also, Nia is, borrowing money and never paying it back, or showing up at Keisha's house or her job unexpected, uninvited, and, thinking that that's okay. And so Keisha is now beginning to say, okay, I need to set boundaries. And she's kind of struggling with that. So she got, one day it just became too much, a lot. And Keisha had the conversation with Nia, hey, we need to talk about this. I feel like this is a one-sided friendship, and I don't feel like that you're honoring our friendship and that you even care about what I have going on, that is all about you. And even when I give you advice, you don't take the advice that I give you, but you continue to come to me with the same complaints and the same things going on, that you have not tried to resolve or try to do anything differently. And so, of course, Nia didn't take it well. Keisha has been her dumping ground for years. Keisha has been the one that she's been able to go to, when she was running low on money and get money from her. Keisha's been the one that she could, count on to be there, through it all. So Nia didn't take it very well, and she began to, lash out And not only that, she went and she gossiped about Keisha to other mutual friends, which eventually got back to Keisha. And at that point, Keisha knew, okay, this is not a relationship that's healthy. This is an unhealthy relationship, and I need to know, and I need to assess if it's even worth saving. Okay. So, having said that and shared that scenario with you, I want to talk about where the boundaries were crossed. Okay. So, when we think about crossing boundaries, there's some things that stood out to me in that scenario. Emotional dumping. So, with Nia constantly uploading her issues and complaining about her issues to Keisha without even giving Keisha the same support. Okay, that's emotional dumping. Many of you may have had those type of friendships where every time the phone rings and you pick the phone up, it's, girl, let me tell you about, this, that, and the other. Girl, this is going on. Girl, I need help with this. But they never take a time to say, hey, how are you doing? Are you well? How are you feeling? Do you have time to listen to me? They never take into consideration what you have going on, right? How's your health? How are your relationships? How's work going? How was that vacation you took last week? We never talked about that. Well, no, we never talked about it because you never asked me about it, right? Anytime you call me, it's always about you. And so that emotional dumping, that's a boundary that has been crossed. Lack of respect for time and space. So Nia feeling like she can call Keisha all hours of the night, knowing Keisha has a routine and she goes to bed at a certain time. Nia disregards that, and if she feels like she needs to talk at 11 o'clock and vent and talk about what's going on in her life, she's calling. So that is a boundary that's crossed. Anytime Keisha would try to set boundaries, even the smallest little thing, Nia would disregard it and continue with the same behaviors. And then the gossip and the betrayal was definitely something that was a red flag and where boundaries have been crossed, because Keisha, over time, of course, they were best friends, shared a lot of intimate details with Nia and personal details. And then Nia, when she is upset or got upset and felt like Keisha, the boundaries were too much for her, then she began to go and tell people, oh, she thinks she's better than me. She thinks she's too good now, things like that. And then began to talk about, things that Keisha may have told her over the years about her personal struggles or her personal life. So that right there was definitely a boundary that was crossed, and something that would drive or did drive Keisha to thinking, okay, is this relationship something that I want to salvage? Is this a healthy relationship? It does not look like it is. It does not feel like it is. It feels very unhealthy and very toxic at this point. So that's where the boundaries are crossed. So talking about how to handle those type of situations, right? I know I've experienced it. I'm sure those of you who are listening, you've experienced it, or someone who may have experienced it. So you want to stay firm in your boundaries, right? When you set a boundary, you want to be consistent with that and always stay firm in it, right? And don't overly explain why you're setting that boundary. You can explain to them, this is why, because of this behavior, this is why I'm setting this boundary. But when you get pushed back, you don't have to feel like you have to overly explain and get their buy-in. Okay, you don't have to get their agreement that, okay, that's a good boundary. Yeah, because guess what? If someone is manipulating you and taking advantage of you, 9 times out of 10, they are not going to say to you, yeah, go ahead and set that boundary. That's a good one. Yeah, let's do that. They're not going to do that, because that's cutting them out of the equation. That is taking away something that they've been so used to having, right? That is causing them to step back and, okay, there's a line there that you can't cross. So they're never going to agree with you. So don't even try to get their buy-in. So you can address the gossip or not address it. It's totally up to you. By addressing it, I mean going straight to Nia or going straight to whoever was that individual and letting them know, hey, I know this is what you did and this is what you said. Or you can choose to say, it's not even worth my time, my peace, or my energy. Okay, that's what she did. That's what she said. I'm letting it go and I'm moving on. Okay. Surround yourself with healthy friendships that nurture you as much as you nurture them. Okay, that is extremely important. And remember, always remember that real friends respect boundaries. They're not going to have an issue with you setting a boundary. Hey girl, I gotta get up at 5:30 in the morning. So, please don't call me after 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. unless it's an extreme emergency. Okay? A real friend is not going to have a problem with that. Or, hey, before you come to my house, because I really enjoy my space and my self-care times and things like that, give me a call or a text to ask me, if it's okay for you to drop by before you just show up, things like that. Or, hey, when you borrow something, I don't mind you keeping it longer than, maybe expected, but reach out to me and ask me if it's okay, before you just decide that it's okay. Okay? So, remembering that real friends respect boundaries. And then you want to let go without guilt. Okay? When the friendship has run its course, when the friendship is over, when it's unhealthy, when you see that there's no mending and no, there's no evolution in the friendship, and what typically happens is that once people become adults, they do go in different directions, based on their lifestyles, things that they have accomplished, their dreams and their goals for their own life. They do tend to go in different directions. Doesn't have to be hate, doesn't have to be anything nefarious, it doesn't have to be anything mean. It is just we've outgrown each other. Okay? And so you have to be okay with that, and then sometimes just let go without guilt. You don't have to keep trying to go back and mend it just because you've been this for so many years. Okay? So a real friend will not punish you for prioritizing your peace, okay, and setting boundaries. They won't go and gossip about you if they're a real friend. They won't tell you that you're being selfish and manipulate you and try to talk you out of it and try to make you feel bad and shame you for prioritizing your peace and setting boundaries. A real friend is not going to do that. Okay? So we talked about unhealthy friendships and healthy friendships. So let's talk about the characteristics of a healthy friendship. So a healthy friendship is that friend that wants to see you grow. Okay, so if you have goals that you share with them, they are willing to champion behind you, be your cheerleader, inspire you, encourage you, support you in whatever it is that you want to do. They want to see you grow, whether it's your career, your personal life, your, self-care, whatever it is, your financial life. They want to see you grow, and they're going to be behind you 100% of the way. There's mutual support, so it's not one-sided. You support them, they support you. It is mutual support. There is mutually beneficial. Again, not one-sided. It evolves as you evolve. So as we grow and our needs change and we get older and our needs change, that friendship should be evolving and growing, and there should be some balance there. Okay. And boundaries are not a threat to them. Okay. You setting a boundary and you being honest about your feelings is not threatening to them if they're a real friend. You can be yourself. You don't have to put on airs or show up, be in a certain way. There's something that I witnessed in several friendships, and not necessarily mine, but just watching from the outside looking in, where I've noticed people showing up in their friend groups as someone that's not authentically them. Right? So for instance, your friend is, a partier. She's the life of the party. She's always, as my husband says, hype. She's always on 10. She's just that girl, right? But that's not you. You're more introverted, you're more laid back, you're more cool, calm, collected, all that. But when you show up with her, you feel like you have to be on that same energy. You force yourself to be fake and match her energy because this is your girl, this is what she's on, I'm gonna match her energy, right? We're out, we're partying, I'm gonna drink just as much as she drinks. Even though within myself and consciously I'm saying, I don't really want to do this. This ain't really me. This ain't really my life. This ain't really the life that I want to cultivate, right? But because this is my girl, I'm going to do it. I'm going to turn up with her, right? If she's on the dance floor, doing her thing, I'm going to do the same thing, right? And then you go home and you're miserable because you have taken on this energy that is not you. You have forced yourself to be something that you are not. You have taken yourself out of your authentic realm, and now you are faking it just to be in this friendship. That's not a healthy friendship. Okay? Your friends will understand your quirks, right? So if you're an introvert, your friend is gonna be like, "This is my girl," I know her, right? I know my girl is an introvert, but this is my girl and we rocking, right? No, my girl ain't she ain't get ready to be on 10 like I am. She's not get ready to drink, 10 shots, or she's not going to do this or do that because that's just not her. But that's my friend and that's my girl and we rock together, right? And I love her for who she is because she's not afraid or ashamed to be who she is no matter where she is, okay? Just like she allows me to be who I am, I allow her and give her space to be who she is. They understand your triggers, right? So if there's something that you don't like or something that triggers you or something, that doesn't feel good to you, they're not going to try to force you to do it. They're going to understand, okay, this ain't your thing. I'm not even bringing it around you. I'm not even going to involve you in it. I get it. I understand and I respect it. Okay. You can be honest with them and share your true feelings with them. They're your real friends. Girl, I didn't like when you said A, B, C, and D, right? Or, no, I'm not gonna be able to, not gonna be able to. No, I don't want to go out tonight. Tonight's not a good night for me. I'm gonna stay in. You go on out, you have a good time. We'll catch up, tomorrow or the next day, right? They are going to respect that. They're not going to call you all kinds of names and try to make you feel guilty and shame because you want to stay in the house. Oh, you just such a homebody. Oh, you need to get out the house. You need to do this. You need to do that. No, they're going to understand this is your personality and you two are two different individuals. Okay? So they're going to respect that. Signs of an unhealthy friendship is when they are in competition with you, right? Girl, you got that job. How much they paying you? Oh, okay, I see you. Watch that one, right? Oh, girl, I see you got a new car. Must be nice. And then the next thing you know, here they come rolling up in a new car. Probably can't afford it, but because they're not going to let you outdo them, that's what they do, right? So those little things are signs of an unhealthy relationship. You're at your worst when you're around them. So I spoke about earlier. You go out and you try to be on the same energy that they're on. You drink too much when you're around them. You overeat when you're around them. You feel drained when you're around them. You're emotionally like a just out of order when you're around them. That's a sign of an unhealthy friendship. They talk down to you and they try to embarrass you in front of others. Girl, why'd you wear that dress? You shouldn't even wear that dress. You probably need to go home and change. Or, I like that color lipstick, but I don't know if it looks right on you. You probably need to give that to me. Or, any little thing to try to embarrass you to make themselves look better in front of others. They tell your personal business to others. So even in front of you, I've seen that happen where they just get to talking and running their mouth and they get to telling your business and you look, hold on, I told you that. I didn't tell 15 other people that. If I wanted them to know, I would have told them, right? But they're so comfortable with telling your business, but they're not telling theirs. Check that. You give more than you receive. So you're always the giver. You're always the one driving. You're always the one paying. You're always the one coming to their rescue. You're always the one answering the phone. You're giving more than you're receiving. Unhealthy relationship, unhealthy friendship. And the friendship is codependent. So many times in an unhealthy friendship, there will be someone who is the chronic complainer, as we talked about Nia. So it can be draining. And again, like I said, you have to get to the point where you are honest with them about how you feel about it. So you can redirect the conversation and change the subject. You can lead by example and not be a complainer yourself, but sometimes that don't even work because if they're hell bent on being a complainer, they don't even notice what you're saying or what you got going on. They don't even care. You can ask them if they want advice before you start giving advice because sometimes people don't want your advice. That's just the truth. They don't want your advice. They just want your ear. They just want you to hear them and they just want you to listen. But then there has to be boundaries set. Like, okay, I'm going to listen. I'll be a listening ear for you, but you're not going to just dump all your problems on me. So there has to be a balance there. And a lot of times they can't handle the truth. So the moment that you start giving advice and you start telling the truth, that's going to really put a strain on your friendship if they are not able to handle the truth. One thing that I would say in that do not be dismissive to anyone or any, friend that you have, because it's rude. And, so things like that is like, oh girl, it ain't that bad. Oh, you just overreacting. You so dramatic. Girl, stop. Or just get over it. Don't nobody care about that. Just get over it. Don't be dismissive like that. That doesn't make you any better than them. Okay. So, the older you get, the harder it is to make friends. I wouldn't say the harder it is to make friends, but you become very selective on the people that you call friends, right? And so it becomes hard to set those boundaries in relationships, especially if it's someone that you've known for years and you may have grown up with. The older we get, friendships, we put time into them. And then again, we have time that we have to spend, maybe we're parents now, we're working, we have our own romantic relationships and families. So now the time is divided. We're no longer these schoolgirls who are able just to do everything together 24/7. We're spending our time in other places, right? So when we get to the point where we're discovering who we are, it can cause us to be pickier about who we allow in our space. And we should be pickier, right? So some things to keep in mind about adult friendships. If you can't afford to give it away, do not loan it, okay? If you cannot afford to give it away, do not loan it. That's money, clothes, shoes, what have you. If you don't want their unsolicited advice, stop sharing so much of your personal information, okay? And because they're only responding to what you telling them. And if it's something that you need to get off your chest, you just need to talk about it. Just let them know, I just need you to listen. I don't want your advice. I just really need somebody to listen. And then if you have a needy friend, like someone who is super needy, I always want you to be there for them. I always need you to show up. I always, need, okay? Stop agreeing to show up for them every time they reach out and say, hey girl, I'm going here. Can you, can you pick me up so, we can go together, this, that, and the other? No, I'm not doing that today. I'm not going there today. Okay? Stop agreeing to show up, because you show up and you do it and then you complain that you did it because you didn't want to do it. Stop doing it. Put healthy distance between you both, right? You don't have to see each other every day. You don't have to talk on the phone every day. You don't have to share all of your personal information, personal stuff with them, every day or throughout the friendship, right? I have friends who I feel like I'm extremely close to, and that if I call them right now, they're going to be there and we're going to discuss or whatever it is, right? But I don't talk to them every day. I don't need to talk to them every day. That's something that I did, junior high school, and in my 20s, that's what it was. But now that I am almost 54 years old, I don't necessarily need that, right? So it's just all about what the needs are, where you're at, and putting that healthy distance. And when you do stuff, do only what you enjoy doing, right? Because then it becomes a burden. Then it becomes a chore, right? And then you will begin to resent that friendship because you no longer enjoy hanging out. You no longer enjoy talking on the phone. You no longer enjoy, kikiing and sharing information, right? Now it's a burden. Now every time you hear their voice, you're rolling your eyes and here she go again. Or the phone rings, it's like, oh my God, here she go again. Like, no, do only what you enjoy doing. Okay, this is your friendship. And if it's something that's a burden and it's unhealthy, then do what you need to do and walk away. Okay. Because at the end of the day, you're not a therapist. You're their friend, right? And it's okay if you have a friend who truly needs to see a therapist, who truly needs counseling, who has something going on that they need help working through, and you're not the one to help them work through. It's okay to say, friend, I think it's time for you to hire a counselor. Or I think it's time for you to see a therapist because they could really help you work through this. It's okay to say that. That's out of love. That's out of care and support. And then let them know, I'll be there to support you. I'll be there to, I'll even help you find one. What do we need to do? Because I want you to be healthy and I want you to be whole. Okay. And I want to salvage this friendship. But right now, the way things are going, that may not happen. Right. So be honest with them about that. And know that friendships are for a reason, season, or a lifetime. There will be people that will be with you throughout the remainder of your life. There are people that you started out with in your teens and 20s that are no longer in your circle, right? There are people that you may meet today for this season in your life that, a year from now, you may not have any connection with because they were only there for that time period. Okay, so just know that every connection is not always meant to be an eternal, a lifetime connection. Okay. When you're thinking about whether the relationship is healthy or unhealthy, weigh the good and the bad, right? Weigh it out. Think about it. Listen to your heart. Listen to your spirit. How do you feel when you say that person's name, or when that phone rings and you see that person's name on that phone, or when you think about, okay, if I'm ever in their position and I'm in need of something, are they going to be able to be there for me, you know, in the way that I need? Not necessarily the way that I am for them, because everybody's different, right? But are they going to be able to be there for me in the way that I will need them to be, right? Weigh it out. Ask yourself if you can exist without this person in your life, right? How is that going to affect you, whether they are in or out of your life, right? Does this friendship still has the values that honor you? Is there still respect? Do they adhere to the boundaries and respect the boundaries? Can you trust them? Are they honest with you? Those are things to think about. And are you always trying to fix things? Are you the fixer? Okay, even when you don't do anything wrong, or you're not the one, you know, gossiping or spreading rumors or what have you, are you still running and trying to fix the friendship? Think about it. So this is a personal assessment that only you can do when it comes to your friendships. And so my goal here is to give the scenario, talk through the scenario, give you the outlines of what it looks like, and to give you some healthy friendship advice on how to assess your friendship and how to move forward. So the main thing is, remember, is that your time, peace, and your energy are so valuable. And so you have to be very, very cautious, and you have to be very wise. And because they're valuable commodities, you have to be very wise of how you give it away, who you share it with. Okay? Your time, your peace, and your energy. All right? So I wish you all nothing but great health, peace, joy, and wellness. And again, like and share this video. And I look forward to speaking to you all in my next video. The next one is about boundaries in the marriages. So we'll talk about that next. All right. Namaste.